Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining and welcome back to Wall Street Silver. Joining us today is a very special guest, Gerald Celente. He is the publisher of the Trends Journal. Gerald, it's great to see you again.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. You made a video recently saying when all else fails, they take you to war. Do you believe that's why the Fed won't raise rates?
Well, what's going to happen? I mean, let's go back to history. As a matter of fact, that's the cover of our magazine this week, the Trends Journal. Mm-hmm. Go back to a thing called the Great Depression. What followed it? World War II. Then there was a thing called the dot-com bust that most people forgot. And our magazine, by the way, the Trends Journal, in October 1999, we said it would bust by the second quarter of 2000. And it did, March. George W. Bush becomes president, takes office in February 2001. We're in a severe recession. One day before 9/11, NASDAQ was down 66%. We're going to get that guy Osama bin Laden, get her alive.
Yeah.
And 88% of the people swallowed the crap coming out of that murderous little mouth of that daddy's boy, a little arrogant daddy's boy born on third base and thought he had a home run. And that's all the club is, man. Again, we've been following the Ukraine thing since it began. People don't know about Victoria Nuland, who was this UN assistant secretary at doing a conference in DC, and how she's talking about how we're giving $5 million to the people that want liberty in Ukraine. Yeah, our money. Oh, and on one side of his union, ExxonMobil, and another one, Chevron, brought to you by both of them. Oh, and how about that little boy, Hunter Biden, doing the deal with Burisma Energy in Ukraine? Oh, the guy's a genius when it comes to natural gas and coal and energy. A genius. And he deserved to make all that money.
You know, Biden had a phone call with the prime minister of Ukraine the other day, and he was like, "You're about to be invaded. You're about to be invaded." And the Ukrainian president was like, "It's not quite that dramatic. You know, tone it down a little bit, Biden. It's not that bad." It seems like we're trying to dial it up in the United States to 11, and everyone else is not quite there yet. Are you getting that sense?
Absolutely. The Russians have been on their border, by the way. They border each other. It used to be part of Russia, by the way, Ukraine, throughout the whole Soviet Union. When Khrushchev came in, that's when it became Ukraine, because he was Ukrainian. But anyway, and the deal was this. When the Soviet Union broke apart, NATO was not going to expand any further. And now they're all over the place. So suppose we had Russians up in Canada and the Chinese down in Mexico. You think we'd like that?
No.
Yeah.
So now let's go back to Ukraine. Again, we wrote about this when it happened. Ukrainians needed dough. The economy was sinking. They were going to make a deal with either the European nations, and they made a deal with the IMF had to do with it. And then Russia came in and gave them a better interest rate. And that was the end of the democratically elected government of Yanukovych.
You know, back in the 90s, remember with Clinton, or it was right when East Germany was trying to reunify with West Germany. The agreement back then was the Russians would not oppose it. They would allow Germany to reunify in exchange for NATO not expanding further eastward into Poland, the Baltics, the other countries. And we violated that deal, right? That was the unofficial.
Clinton was the one that violated it. It began under George Bush Sr.
Yeah.
And even Reagan was talking about it with Gorbachev. They're again, we have psychopaths in charge. So going back to Ukraine, the Russians have been there now on that border story has been going on for 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, when all else fails, they take you to war. Let's go back to the economy. Isn't it been a wonderful month for the Dow Jones? I mean, it's 1 week after another going down, and then it goes up. The plunge protection team's coming in. You got to be 6 years old not to see this. Oh, the market's down 1,000 points and all of a sudden it rebounds. Come on, what am I, take it easy. They're doing it. So they're going to raise interest rates. When they raise interest rates, they're going to crash the economy. They're going to do, this is a Paul Volcker 2.0. Back in 1982, when inflation was skyrocketing, they raised interest rates dramatically, up 16, 17%. It stopped the inflation. And then, right before the 1984 election, they crashed interest rates. Boom, the economy took off. And in 1984, the new election, the GDP growth was the big one that just came out now. The last time it's been that high was in 1984 under Reagan. So they're rigging the game. They're going to slow the markets down now to bring down inflation. And then they're going to lower interest rates dramatically before the 2024 elections.
Do you think they'll get away with that, Gerald?
They get away with murder. They're murderers and thieves. I'm a bank. I'm too big to fail. You're just a piece of crap. I want that guy, Saddam Hussein, out of there.
Yeah.
Got weapons of mass destruction and ties to Al Qaeda. They're murderers and thieves. They'll get away with as much as they can, like any murderer or any thief.
You say they're going to raise interest rates to slow everything down, crash the economy, crash the stock market, whatever, then dramatically lower them to get the economy booming right before 2024. I think that what people are probably doubting this time is whether they can actually raise the rates any measurable amount this time without everything just falling apart. The housing market, or whether they can even afford to raise the rates. It's not, there's just so much more debt this time than there was back then during the Paul Volcker era.
Right. They're going to raise the rates, as I said, they're going to lower them. So and they'll call it a success. They'll make up their own crap. Look at this. Look at the crap they've been throwing out. Let's go back a year ago. The inflation. I'm Jerome Powell. It's only temporary. I'm Janet Yellen. It's only transitory. Transgendatory, maybe. You're making us. They knew it was real inflation. They were saying it because they've got to keep the money scheme going. And now they're pulling back on it. So yeah, there'll be a correction. They're going to bear market territory and it may crash, but they're murderers and thieves. They will do anything, any way, anyhow they can to keep it going. Look at what they keep doing over and over again. Go back to Alan Greenspan, keep going back. We'll go back to guy Burns, whatever the hell his name was back in the Nixon days, when they wouldn't raise interest rates before the election. It's a criminal group.
Hey, the other big news that I know's got you all excited is there's this whole big trucker convoy headed for Ottawa in Canada. It's got everyone in Canada, that's all they're talking about, and it's making the news here in the United States also. They're going to get their freedom back from Justin Trudeau, make all the mandates stop. You find this a little bit inspiring that the Canadians are standing up?
Absolutely. And again, what is this moron Trudeau? He said something about it's only a minority of the people. Oh, I got to believe the majority? How about go screw yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, I got to believe the 88% of the stupid, ignorant freaks that believed murderous George Bush to go to the Afghan war for 20 years? Oh, I got to believe the majority? Who the hell you talking to? Look at that little coward boy. He ran away. He was probably afraid of the guys. He ran away. I'm in isolation. Yeah. All right, so here's the deal. I get, just briefly, at a graduate school, I was a major guy running the mayoral campaign of Yonkers, New York, a city of 210,000 people. And then I worked on campaigns throughout Westchester County, the richest county in America. I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate at 26 years old.
Wow.
I designed and instructed American politics and campaign technology, the first course of its kind, how to run political campaigns, and taught it at St. John's University. I was the chief government affairs specialist for a major segment of the chemical industry back in the 1970s. At 28 years old, I'm staying at the Willard and putting my meetings on at the Hay Adams, killing environmental legislation at the height of the movement. I wouldn't know what I know if I hadn't been on the other side. And I was on the other side. I pictures me and Reagan. I picked him up to Chicago Hilton when I was 30 years old, putting on a brunch with 16 of our board of directors. Got in a taxi cab in those days, by the way. Him and Mike Beaver. And anyway, they were princes, prime ministers, and presidents. I know how to run the game. I just got off a interview with the Freedom Group in Canada. I'm making this very clear to everybody. There's only one way to win. You go and you don't leave. We talked about the Berlin Wall coming down. The Berlin Wall came down when people went, they didn't leave. More people came, they didn't leave. More people came day in, day out, week after week. All of a sudden, the people outnumbered those little guys in their military drag by 6,000 to 1. They put down their guns, boom, the wall came down. Number two, not ancient history. Last year, Modi in India passed a farm bill, tried to push through a farm bill that would have wiped out the small farmers. The small farmers took to the streets day after day, night after night, week after week, blocking New Delhi, blocking everywhere they could. They killed about 30 of them. They didn't leave. They won. Number three, not ancient history, a week ago. They just stopped the building of a lithium mine by Rio Tinto in Serbia. The people went out, they blocked the streets, they wouldn't leave, they won. I told them what the truckers have to do is pile up into Ottawa, go nice and slow and stop, nice and slow and stop, block off that place until they get rid of these draconian mandates that are against the constitution virtually of every nation that has a constitution. Don't leave until you win. It's as simple as that.
Well, you know what they say, if every grocery store, we are 72 hours away from total chaos. I mean, any given area will run out of food from most of the grocery stores within 72 hours without resupplies. If the truckers block everything, they could do it. I mean, they could do it.
They could do, look, I'm telling you, I'm in contact with people that are right at the top of it. And I'm putting out messages to them on and on and on, telling them how to do it. I said, listen, I want to make this really clear. I don't know the first thing about driving a truck, fixing a truck, and you guys don't know the first thing about the line that I know about. So let's straighten this out right away. I get invited to all these different rallies. I go to some of them. I try talking to the people. Well, what do you do when you're not doing it? Well, I have a clothing store. Okay, so you don't know shit about the political land, all right? I don't know how to run a clothing store. And I try to tell them, look what just happened in Washington, D.C. last week. Totally worthless protest. And now they're going after RFK Jr. because he mentioned something about Anne Frank.
Wow.
All right? The only way to win is you don't stop. You call these guys out. It's the governed that are the governors. They got it backwards. Hey, 2 words, public servant. Got it? We tell you what to do. And again, when you see this guy, little Trudeau, running away, as we used to say in the Bronx, when you call these guys out man to man, they don't know whether to piss or shit. They fall like that.
He's probably in Costa Rica on the beach right now to avoid all the truckers who
are
getting
getting screwed up the ass by somebody. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't think anyone takes him seriously. I don't know. Ivan, you tell
Oh,
us.
they do. They voted for him. They brought him back into office.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm in Canada. I don't know who voted for him. Like 99% of my friends, family, and everyone I talk to, nobody voted for him. So I don't know. I don't know how he got
Well,
in power.
you live in Alberta. That's what more the more
Oh, yeah.
You live in oil country up there in Alberta,
Yeah.
right?
No, nobody likes him.
Yeah.
Oh, no, and that's where I did the Zoom things, the Alberta protests. A couple of things before I leave. The COVID war is going to end,
Yeah.
my forecast, by late March, mid-April. And what they're going to do, the next fear mongering is going to be climate change. That's going to take over the news.
You don't think war? We're going to go COVID to war, then climate change?
If a war breaks out in Ukraine, it's going to be oh, by the way, and this is very important because it all connects. I told the people in Canada, keep putting out, it's going to be a peaceful protest because the Trudeau mob is going to bring in agents provocateurs to make it look like it's a riot's going on. Mm-hmm. So make sure you keep saying it's peaceful. Going back to Ukraine, the only way conflict will break out if it's a false flag or a dirty deal done by the United States and NATO to make it look like Russia did something. Russia is not going to invade Ukraine. It'll only be invaded if something happens that really causes an invasion. Otherwise, I don't see it happening. And the other thing too is that look who the president is. And it's a symbol of the reality of the world. Mm-hmm. A former comedian.
Oh yeah, okay.
You can't make this shit up.
Yeah.
Look at the people running us. Look at that clown that they got over there in the UK. Or is it the FUCK? Yeah. Look at him. Boris Johnson, a cartoonist couldn't make a weirder character. Look at the jerk. That's the Senate head over there in the United States, McConnell. The guy got more chins than Chinatown. Look at, oh, you like Pelosi? No, I like Diane Not So Feinstein. No, little Chucky Schumer. Now that's a half a boy for me.
Yeah.
No, I think it's Lindsay to come out of the closet. Yet Graham, maybe that's the half a boy. Look at the little jerks we got telling us what to do. How can people be so low to swallow the shit that comes out of their mouths and obey their orders?
Yeah. It's tough to take them seriously. It really is.
But people do.
Yeah, a lot of clowns manage to get elected somehow. It's really
And again, you know, I've started a new church, and it's the Universal Church of Freedom, Peace, and Justice, freedompeacejustice.com. Think about it. I got the domain name freedompeacejustice.com in 2021. If there was an emotion of freedom, peace, and justice, that thing should have been gone in 1994. Number two, where are all, hey, Pope, you're selling vaccinations. How come you're not coming out against, why aren't you talking about peace? Mm-hmm. Hey, Mormons, where are you? Hey, Buddhists, where are you? Hey, where Muhammad crew? How come the Islamists, how come you're not talking about peace? Not one word of peace coming from any of these fake religions. Not the religions are fake. It's the clowns in charge, just like the same jerk-offs that we got running our government are running the religions. Mm-hmm. People better look at that murderous Pope. That guy was involved when they were demonstrating, the dictator in Argentina was in charge, and he was ratting people out, not covering up. There's a lot of dirty deals on this guy. You don't get to where you are over there unless you're one of them.
Wow.
I will put the link to that website in the description.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gerald.
Guys. Thanks for all you do.
Have a good day, sir.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you.